A running prose translation of 42 verses from Bhagwad Gita, selected and set in order by Sri Ramana Maharshi, for the use of those interested in self-inquiry. In these verses, Bhagwan reveals the seeker, that which is sought, and the means by which one seeks. Sri Krishna spoke the following words to Arjun, who, with a despondent mind and eyes perplexed and full of tears, was overcome with pity. This body, O Arjun, is called the Kshetra, the field. Sages call one who knows this Kshetragya, the knower of the field. Further, know me as the knower of the field in all fields. This knowledge of the field and the knower of the field is considered by me to be true knowledge. I am the Self, O Arjun, who dwells in the heart of all beings. I am the beginning, the middle, and indeed the end of all beings. For that which is born, death is certain. For that which is dead, birth is certain. Therefore, in the matter of that which is inevitable, you ought not grieve. He is neither born nor does he die. Nor having been will he cease to be again. Unborn, eternal, everlasting, the Self, the Ancient One. He is not slain when the body is slain. This Self is uncuttable. This Self is unburnable. This Self is unwettable. This Self is undryable. He is eternal, omnipresent, stable, immovable, and everlasting. Know that by which all of this is pervaded is indeed imperishable. No one is able to effect the destruction of the immutable. The unreal is never regarded as real. The real is never regarded as unreal. The final truth about both of these has indeed been realized by the seers of truth. As the omnipresent ether is not tainted because of its intangibility, so in every case, the Self, although seated in the body, remains untainted. It is illuminated by neither sun, nor moon, nor fire. Having gone to the unmanifest, they never return. That is my supreme abode. This abode is called the imperishable Om. It is said to be goal supreme. Having attained it, they never return. That is my supreme abode. Free from pride and delusion of mind, the detrimental effects of attachment conquered, ever abiding in the Self, desires at an end, released from the pairs of opposites called pleasure and pain, the undeluded attain this eternal home. However, having rejected the words of the scriptures, he who instead follows the impulse of desire attains neither perfection nor happiness nor the supreme path. He who sees the Supreme Lord abiding alike in all beings, the incorruptible in the corruptible, he it is who truly sees. By devotion alone, without the sense of the other, O Arjun, can I be known and seen in such a form as I really am, and indeed be entered into. The faith of every man is in accordance with this innate disposition, whether sattva, rajas or tamas. Man is made of faith. As his faith is, so he is. The man of faith, occupied with that only, who has senses under control, obtains knowledge. Having obtained knowledge, he very soon discovers peace supreme. To those who are constantly engaged in worshipping me with devotion, I give the yoga of intellect, by which they come to me. Out of compassion for them, abiding in their self, I destroy their nescience born of ignorance, with resplendent lamp of knowledge. For those whose ignorance is destroyed by the knowledge of the self, knowledge, like the sun, reveals the Supreme in them. It is said that the power of the senses is great. Higher than the senses is the mind. Higher than the mind is the intellect. But even higher than the intellect is He, the Self of all. Thus, knowing Him to be higher than the intellect, fixing self in the self, slay the elusive enemy, the ego, so hard to find. Just as a blazing fire reduces fuel to ashes, so the fire of knowledge reduces all actions to ashes. He whose undertakings are devoid of the desire for results, whose actions are completely consumed by the fire of knowledge, the wise call sage. Immersion in the self is assured here and now for those who have strived, have controlled their thoughts, freed themselves from anger and material desire, and realized the self. Little by little, one should cease from action, with intellect held resolutely, and having made the mind rest in the self alone, one should not direct the thoughts towards anything. Whenever the restless and unsteady mind wanders out, one should withdraw it once again, subdue it, and make it rest in the self alone. Thus, with senses, mind, and intellect controlled, the sage, having liberation as his sole aim, free from desire, fear, and anger, is indeed liberated. The self-realized person sees the self abiding in all beings, and all beings in the self. He looks on all things impartially. I provide security and maintain the welfare of those men who, ever intent, worship me without thinking of the other. Of these, the wise, ever attentive and devoted to the One, excels. For I am very dear to the wise, and he is very dear to me. At the end of many births, the man of wisdom takes refuge in me, knowing Vasudeva is the indwelling self of all. Such a great soul is indeed hard to find. When one gives up all of the objects of desire that continually pass through the mind and remains content in the self by the self alone, then one is declared to be established in wisdom. He who abandons all objects of desire roams free of longing, and without sense of I and mine, he attains peace. He who neither upsets the world nor is upset by the world, who is freed from joy and anger, fear and anxiety, he is very dear to me. The same in honor and dishonor, the same to friend or foe, relinquishing all personal endeavors, he is said to have transcended the gunas. He who rejoices in the self alone is completely satisfied with the self alone, and in the self alone is content. For him there is no work to be done. For him, indeed, there is no object to acquire through action in this world, nor is there anything not to be done through action, nor has he even to depend on anyone for anything. Satisfied with whatever grace may bring, free from the pairs of opposites, free from envy, steady in both success and failure, although acting, he is never bound. The Lord dwells in the heart of all beings, O Arjun, and by his uncanny power, he moves them around as if they are mounted on a carousel-like universe. Go to him alone for your refuge with all your being. By his grace alone shall you attain that peace supreme, the eternal abode.